Hola controles, bienvenidos a su podcast El After. El de hoy tenemos un invitado muy especial, Christopher Lawrence. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be here.
Oh, nice to have you here. I feel very honored of having you here. Such a legend.
Thanks.
Well, if you basically, we already talked a little bit. These two people know you, know your story, how you started, where you're from, and the story of everything, like how you started into music, your influences, your label, everything. You're an encyclopedia for the electronic music for sure.
Well, as long as I have the memory.
Yeah, but well, you can start. We can start there a little, like,
Yeah.
where you're from and your first approach to music, and then we can go through.
Sure.
Okay, so please begin with where you're from and what was your first approach into music?
I grew up in Northern California. I'm just outside of San Francisco. And I don't know, I guess I always liked music, when I was a kid. And as I got older, I got into heavy metal and punk. And then I got into, the goth scene. I don't even know if people know what that is, but there was bands like, New Order, Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, that kind of stuff, Depeche Mode. And so I was into that stuff. And then, I don't know, I was at university. I went to UC Berkeley, and I was living in San Francisco, and we'd been going to dance clubs ever since I was like 16 years old. And it was alternative music, it was dance music, but it wasn't EDM. There was no house or disco or, there'd been disco, but it wasn't the house music and techno, like what we would then get. And it was a friend of mine. He said, "Look, I know you've been going to clubs, but I'm going to take you to something that's really unique." And he said, "There's not going to be a lot of people there, but you got to check this out. It's called a rave." It was at this club. It was in the basement, and it didn't start till 2 a.m. And it was a couple DJs from Europe, and they were playing, and they'd moved to San Francisco, and they brought the sound with them. And we're on the dance floor, and it was the most amazing music, and everybody was passing around water with ecstasy. And so we're like drinking the water, and everybody's passing, and I suddenly just had this moment, like I just went, holy fucking shit. Can you swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like the music, the way that because I'd done ecstasy before, but never like with this music, and the way that it works, the synergistic effect. Everybody knows now. and it changed my life. And it was at that moment I said, I want to be a part of this. I somehow want to be a part of this. This is what I want to do. And it changed my life. So I started going to those parties, and I'd always collected records. So I started going to record stores. And at that time, because there was no internet. And we're talking, this is like 1990. And so there's no internet, and you had to buy vinyl. And so you'd go to the record store, and the stores in San Francisco that I was going to, they didn't even specialize in like electronic dance music. A lot of them were record stores, and they'd have disco for, like the disco scene, and there was a real, big gay underground scene going in San Francisco. And so I'd go to those stores, and they'd get they just call it techno, and there'd be a rack, and they'd get like 20 records a weekend, and you'd go through it, and it could be anything, but some stuff was breakbeat, some stuff was house, some stuff was German techno. It was just random. But that's how it started. And so I'd collect those records. I got a turntables and a mixer, and one of the guys at the record store taught me how to mix, and I started doing parties, just house parties for friends. And then we got a crew going, and we did free parties in Golden Gate Park. We'd break into warehouses, and we'd do parties. And then once we had enough people that were coming to our parties, we started getting booked for bigger raves where we got actually paid. And back then, DJs would get paid like $75. But to me, that was the greatest thing in the world, because you got, $75, $100, and that paid for your records, 5 more records for next week. And that's how it started. And I was doing that in San Francisco until like 1994. I started getting booked for events. The rave scene started taking off. I think it started taking off around the world. It was everywhere. And so the shows, though, in Los Angeles were just insane. You had like 10,000 people, like on a Saturday night. And my sound was the house and, like the groovy, funky San Francisco sound wasn't my thing. I liked it harder and faster, and that worked really well in Los Angeles. So I moved to Los Angeles in 1994, and that's where everything just really took off. So yeah, that's basically it. And then I started just doing, like raves, like 2 or 3 every weekend, and from there grew exponentially. Back then, back then there was no such thing as a traveling DJ. You played in, there was DJs and they were good and they played the raves in their city, and that was it. And that's all you ever thought you would ever do, and then we started getting like $200 for playing a party. But then once we started getting 10,000 people, and you started getting like a little bit more, but still it wasn't like what it is today. It wasn't a business. It was all DIY. Promoters were making shit up as they went along. They were finding, there was no venues. No venues wanted to allow raves in them because everybody was on drugs. It was just 100% saturation. Everybody there was on ecstasy. Now everybody does all different things. It's changed, but it was pure ecstasy. And so it was an amazing time, but everybody was making it up as they went along. Nightclubs didn't want us in there because they didn't want a bunch of people on drugs in their nightclubs because they could get shut down. So it was all stuff out in the forest or out in a desert or in warehouses. It was just weird stuff. And it was being made up as it went along. And so what I'm saying is that you never imagined that it was going to be anything beyond what that was. And then, I don't know, it started exploding, and DJs started traveling to, like other cities, other towns, like I was based in Los Angeles, but then I was playing in Denver and Seattle and soon heading over to the East Coast. And then you had DJs from Europe coming to Los Angeles. You're like, oh my God, this is like this cultural exchange, and it's all about the music. And so, yeah, that's basically, that's it. Well, and it was vinyl. It was all vinyl. Just so you guys know, we carried around, 30-pound crates of 40-pound crates of records.
Yeah, nothing to do right now that is just a USB.
No, and I love the USB. I love it. I ended up having back surgery because I'd been carrying records, because I'd carry them around and put them, when you'd fly, like to, if I was coming down here to Mexico to play in Mexico, or I was playing in Europe or Asia, you had to bring your records, and you didn't want to check your records because they could get lost. And if your records were lost, you couldn't play the party. You'd show up, you had nothing. So you bring your records and you have to put them in the overhead compartment. And so, yeah, I ended up having to have back surgery because of carrying records around for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so now I am so grateful that technology changed. I mean, when CDs came along, that was revolutionary. And now we have thumb drives.
Yeah, and now I see that the future is the pioneers. They're going to have a server with internet, and you just go into your profile and you have your tracks over there, and that's not even the USB. Maybe your thumb. It's like Christopher Lawrence.
Yeah,
and you have everything.
But what happens if you're in a festival out in the forest or out somewhere and you don't have internet? I'd still bring that thumb drive as a backup.
Yeah, always, and you have a lot of experience. Like we were talking in dinner, you start with vinyls, and then you move to CD, and then you move to USB.
Yeah.
So I imagine that you have a lot of experiences with the vinyls, like bumping because of the table.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. It is, and also, like I was saying, we used to just have turntables on. It was a card tables. You'd put the record players on a card table, and the people at the party, we weren't on stages. DJs weren't on stages. There was no LED screens. There was no stages. You were on the ground with the people. And so people would crowd around to watch you actually mixing, because you had to queue up records and throw them in, and you actually had to really work. And the record could run out. You didn't have a loop that you could just press a button and loop 4 bars. If the record ran out, the record ran out. So you had to be good. So the thing was, is like, if you and I are right here and you're playing and I wanted to see what you're doing, I could bump the table accidentally, and then it makes the record skip and just, and that it would happen. It would happen regularly at events. People stumbled and they'd hit the table. And so when CDs came along, one is there's the technological transition where you've always been playing vinyl and now all of a sudden you're pressing buttons, and it's a little different thing to learn. But CDs were much lighter and they didn't skip like vinyl. You could play your whole set and you didn't have to panic. You weren't watching constantly to see if somebody was going to knock your table over. So CDs, that was, to me, revolutionary. And we thought that was it. And those didn't even last, maybe 10 years at the most. Not even 10 years. Maybe 10. And then digital came along, and that just, having a thumb drive, it's just brilliant. Because it also, what you could do is you can edit your own tracks. You can, if you're working on a track and you want to play it out, in the old days you had to get it was called an acetate made. And you'd go to some guy's funky studio and they had these lathes and they'd groove out. It was basically making a one-off record. And so you'd get this acetate made and you could play it like 7 or 8 times before it was no good. But now you could work on a track in the afternoon, put it on a CD and play it that night. And if it didn't go well or there was something you wanted to change, you could go in the next day and fix it and burn another CD and play it the next night. It was amazing. We thought that was it. And then there was the thumb drive.
Yeah. It was like you said, revolutionary. When I started, it's the CD and then the USB. And yeah, it's very comfy just to go with your CD, your thumb drive. You got 2 or 3 of them. You put it on in the player and you load it and you see, okay, everything looks good. Okay, let's start playing. You can play hours per hour because the vinyl was like, depending on your back strength, is your set. Yeah, man. No, but it's crazy, and like I was telling you, you had like a lot of experiences and a lot of movements. And my question to you is like, what is the biggest tip for a DJ or producer, because you know that there are a lot of ups and downs during this career, and you have been, I don't know, 30 years, more or less.
This will be 33 years.
33. Jesus Christ. H.
Yeah.
What tip and recommendation can you give to somebody because you are the very good example that you can last on this career, and people maybe they don't have like a good time and they quit and they do something else, and you are consistent. So what tip and recommendation can you give there?
You just got to be authentic, and because people can tell, and it's hard now because there's kind of 2 groups of people that are DJs now and producers. There's people that really are just committed, like yourself. They're passionate about the music. It's what they feel it, and that's what they want to do. But you have other people they're just like the TikTok influencers. They think, oh, I'll be a DJ, and I can make money. I can be a DJ and make money. But so few make money. So few are successful. There's not a lot of money in it anymore. There used to be, but not anymore. And unless you're at the very top, and they're taking everything. And so, but the key is you have to be in it because you love it, so that when the downs come, because there's ups and downs, you weather through because it's what you're passionate about. It's what you want to do. And I'll tell you that it goes in cycles. Everything goes in cycles. Like the music that I've played, it becomes popular, then other styles come along, and you think, oh, is this like the end? Like, dubstep came along. You're like, oh my God, this is just going to wipe out every other scene. Or EDM. EDM was one where like the specific sound, it's now called big room, but EDM, it just like trashed everything, and it became so massive, and it drew so many other people in that hadn't been into things like progressive house and trance, and it kind of commercialized everything. And there was a time where I thought, is this the end where it's just gone as far as it's going to go? But then there was a backlash against that, and new genres come along and new styles and things. And whatever sound you're into, if you stay true to it, there will always be people that like that sound, and they'll continue with that sound, and you'll pick up new fans as you go along. So the key is to develop your sound and stick with it. Don't jump around and go, oh, this is the new style, I got to go with this. Stick with it, because you know what'll happen? You'll lose your fans. When you move to another sound, you lose those hardcore people that were passionate and had followed you for all those years. And when you jump to another style, there's always somebody that plays that style better than you, because that wasn't your style. That's not you. You're trying to play something that's not authentic, and so people can sniff it out. And so that's a career killer. Jumping styles, never do that. I watched so many guys do that were really good in a style. A new genre comes along and they think, oh, this is what everybody wants to hear. I'm going to play this now, and I'm going to, this is what it's going to be. And they end up just getting lost. And then when they try to go back to where they were before, people don't want them anymore, because they left. And so stick to your sound. Be authentic. That's about the best advice I can give.
No, and they're very wise words, because you have a lot of experience, and right now music changes too much, and there are new genres every 6 months, like on the hype, and depending on the series or the festival or the influencers that they want to show off, because I understand if you do this for a living, you will have less party, less income, and if you have very expensive style living, you need to go with the flow, right? But people that it's a hardcore fan from you is going to be, now he used to do techno, and he knows do melodic techno, and then it's minimal techno, and now it's disco banger. So and there's people that has a lot of experience making that kind of music, and you will not figure it out, because you're new in the scene.
Yeah,
you're a newbie, a rookie. Yeah, totally. And we were talking about. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when you're saying lifestyle, that's another thing. Don't live beyond your means. Don't start playing a few parties and then go, I'm gonna go buy that car that I've always dreamed about, or I'm gonna do start spending all my money on nice clothes, because there's the ups and downs. Save your money when it's going good. Save your money so you can ride out the lows, because it just happens. There's cycles, and I've watched so many people, so many DJs that were around, like a long time ago with me, and they spent all their money. And when their career ended for whatever reasons, they had nothing to show for it. And I know this sounds, but I swear to God, I'm giving you guys advice. Save your money and be smart about shit. Don't just like get a bunch of money and start like throwing it around, because you know what? There's going to come a day that you really wish you had that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because you get them paid like every night. Like every show, you have a very good month, and you have like good money like every weekend, and then you think that you're going to have that killer month again, and then next month maybe your genre is not popular anymore, and because now something else happened in the mainstream, and you're like, what the fuck? And you use a credit card, and
yeah, no, it's true. It's even like throughout my career, there was times, even when I was at my peak, there'd just be times where like suddenly you have a month and you're just not playing as much. And you're like, whoa. And then you think, is this the end? like you on the phone to your booking agent and say, what's going on? What's going on? But it comes back around. You just got to ride it through.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, and right now, well, now in this like social media and everything, that everything is so exposed, your lifestyle and everything. I think that the new young people are more pressure, like what cell phone they have, what brands they have, and yeah, maybe I'm a little bit older now, and it's like I don't care about the brands and everything. I have like good cell phone because I use it to work, or microphones, or yeah, you buy like when you start playing, you're like, okay, you buy your first headphones and whatever you Technica, Pioneer, whatever. Okay, now I can buy more expensive ones. And thumb drives, maybe you start with 64 gigabytes, then 1 terabyte. I don't know. And you start like also in the computer and in your studio. Yeah, you start with KRK or Yamahas, and then you go into DIN Audio or Focal or whatever. The same with the audio interfaces and with the synths. Maybe you have your digital Moog, and then okay, I have a mini Moog. Now I have a Yamaha killer one. Yeah, you start like spending. And right now, I think that somebody that wants to start and sees a killer studio with analog compressors and limiters, and I need to purchase that, and really not.
Yeah,
You can you can have a laptop now. Whatever, a MacBook Air or a Windows, regular Windows. And you can put whatever program you want, Cubase or Logic or FL Studio, and yeah, you can start making music. Now I'm seeing with the AI and with a lot of tools that you can do music with your cell phone, and there are people that does a career.
Really?
Yes.
I can't even imagine making music on a cell phone.
Yeah, they have, maybe they don't have too many channels.
Yeah.
But right now, music is very simple. I am from the time that to make a full-on track, it was 100 lines of instruments. Right now, no. Kick, bass, percussions, saps, and some like up filters, down filters, main melody, pad, pluck. You have a track.
Yeah. No, it's true. You know, and that's another thing, is that thing. Let me I just want to do something real quick.
Yes.
But like a lot of times what people think is that, if I only had this, I'd be able to make better music. You don't need a lot. You can just start out with what comes in whatever digital audio workstation, whether it's Cubase or Fruity Loops or whatever you're using, Logic. The stuff that comes with it, you can actually make a song. You don't need all the other stuff. Get comfortable just using what you've got. And those other things, it's nice to get new things because it inspires you. You suddenly get inspired and you got some new sounds to work with. And that's great. But you can end up in that cycle. I've known people that do that, where they just, all their money goes into buying new plugins, new outboard equipment, all these processors. And it's like, they're still making shitty tracks. They should have just like sat in there and worked on one track and just making a good track, instead of thinking, I'll buy this and I'll buy this and this will make good tracks. No, it's not going to make a better track. I've known guys that have nothing and they make amazing, amazing music. And so that's just another thing, is you don't fall into that trap. Like you need to have this and you need to have that to make a good track. You don't.
Yeah, totally. You can use the native DSTs as well. And I make the same comparison with the platforms like Netflix and everything. You have so much options that you don't watch anything because it's such a pain in the ass, like to look and this no. It's the same. You have a lot of plugins. If you have 7 compressors and 10 DSTs, synthesizers, and a lot of limiters, you will not pick one. Instead, if you have like what program, what DAW do you use?
I use Logic and Pro Tools.
Okay, Logic, for example. Okay, in Logic you have the Arturia, and you have the ES1, ES2, ESFM. With that, you can do a track.
Yeah.
and you can, instead of, okay, let me do Serum, Diva, Contact, Massive. Yeah, you can do a track with the yes,
Yeah.
with only one.
Yep.
So yeah, and people get overwhelmed and they do nothing.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah, but
Just have a few things and learn those.
yes.
Get good with those.
Yeah, I also work with Logic, and what I do is I buff like every change from revision. Like, okay, this is a new stuff from Logic, and it's like 20 minutes, and they like, this is the new way to do the drum machine, and it gets better every time, and it avoids now to look for samples for hi-hats and everything. You can use native drum machines, and how to use the synthesizers, and how do you do a track completely with native, and they blow your mind. It's like, wow, you really don't need that oscillator, an extra oscillator. Yes, yeah, because sometimes we are like, no, we want the best, and really the really good guys, they only have one, and they make great music.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes, I understand, but I try to keep it simple always, because not to make too much noise and everything. And in your career and all these years, have you considered like to quit making music or quit playing? Like, okay, I'm too tired.
No, I mean, I play less now just because I don't need to, you know, like and now it's funny. There was a period in my life when I was just like playing like 4 shows a week, and it was just out of control. And I was just like doing it, but I didn't appreciate it. Whereas as I've, you know, like as I've played over years and years, it's now I appreciate it so much more, because I can, I don't know, like it, because I look back and I'm grateful for the career that I've had, and that I've been able to do this for this long. And so now every time I play, it's like, it's the last time. I treat it as if, like, I've always looked at, when you play an event, it doesn't matter what you played in the past, because those people aren't on the dance floor in front of you. The only people that matter, and the only thing that matters, is right now at this event that you're playing. And the only thing that matters is the track that you're playing in this moment and the people that are in front of you. And so it's extended to now, each time I play, I treat it as if, like, this is the only one that'll ever matter, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. And so it's a feeling of gratitude that I now have, that I don't think I used to have. I took it for granted. And now there's a better appreciation.
Yeah, totally, because we also live in a very rush lifestyle, a lot of traveling and playing. Yeah, and I fully understand, because sometimes we take it for granted. Like, I know that I'm going to play this week and next week and next week, and we never know what's going to be the last. And yeah, I think, like, now that you see, like, in a different perspective, you try to enjoy the moment and to enjoy, because sometimes, for me personally, it was only work, and I say, man, maybe it's my last day and I didn't watch the movie that I want, to go to a theater or go out with some friends. Because, you know, when you are in this, in content or making music, you can stay in the studio like for days, and you're happy.
Yeah.
You're like in the studio, and then you go out, eat something, go to a restaurant, and you go back, and it's like, okay, I can continue. and yes, and sometimes it's, friends that have a different lifestyle is like, hey, try to go out, and say, okay, let's try and see. And if you go to a party, okay, let's go enjoy and have a good time, like we have right now. It's like, instead, okay, let's make the content right now, let's go chat, eat something good, eat a little bit. And I'm still impressed of your bill.
Well, you can tell them about that.
Yeah, just for a context, Mexican and anyone in the world, we were paying the check or the bill, and Christopher Lawrence opened his wallet and get some bills, and we are currently in 2025, and he had a bill for 2004. I don't know why. It was like 2 generations prior to the bill. Even the people over there was like crazy. But how do you get that money? Like, it's
Okay,
not,
well, because okay, do you want to know about changes? Back in the day, like when I was playing, you got paid in cash. Every show you played, whatever country you were in, you got paid in the currency of the country you played in. You got cash, because we didn't have the internet. You didn't have a phone where you could just transfer money instantly, and so the promoters collected the money in cash, and it would have been a real hassle for them to go put it in a bank, and then I wouldn't have been paid that night. So I don't want to fly home to my country and then not know, are you really going to get paid for that? Is it going to come through the bank eventually or what? And so you get a stack of cash. And so I ended up having just like a box of currencies from all the different countries I played. And so what had happened is that when I recently moved and I found a box of cash, and there was a bunch of Mexican pesos in there. And since I was coming here, I grabbed them, and I didn't know when they were from. And it would have been, I would have been playing here in 2004 and I would have had cash from then. And so it's been sitting in a box, and here it is. And it got pulled out tonight.
yeah, but I'm impressed that the condition of the bill, it looks new.
Because it hadn't been used. It's been sitting in a box for 21 years.
Yeah, I'm impressed, and you impress everybody at night with the. No, and I understand it. It's better like it was to get paid like in the moment, and yeah, but now it's easy. Like, okay, they wire the money, and
Yeah.
it's better. But yeah, but well, I in my mind is well, like, okay, you live in the U.S., you get the money, you go to a change box, and you live in California, like very close to Mexico, you change to USD, but no, you were like, yeah, in the box, it's okay.
Well, I would have changed. I've used some, obviously, but it's not like I have, $30,000 worth of pesos in the box anymore. There's just like that much. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a fun story, and I was impressed today. I really thought that you came from the past, like
Time warp.
like Back to the Future shit. Yeah, but no, it was great. And well, we were talking also about mistakes that you make during the career that you learn from, that you can share.
Don't talk shit about people. Don't. I'll tell you a story because it doesn't matter anymore now. But it was like probably 10 years ago. There was a DJ that was on the same roster as me, and he'd been a trance DJ back when trance was still good, before it became cheesy and gross and full of vocals, and I was blind and now I see breakdowns. But I digress. Anyway, so this guy, he started playing EDM, the big room stuff, because he was chasing the crowd. He wanted to be playing in front of more people, and so fewer people were going to trance shows, more were going to EDM. So that's what he was going to do. And so I don't know, I said something in a magazine about it, like it was that I can't respect somebody that does that. Oh my God, it's caused this huge thing. Then my booking agent, he ended up letting me go, and he said, I can't have anybody on the roster that isn't supportive of everyone else. And I said, I can't be supportive of this guy, and so I got kicked off of that roster and I had to go get another. It wasn't a big problem. I got another one. But the point is, when you talk shit about people, it hurts their feelings, but also it can affect your career and come back to haunt you. So always just smiles and handshakes.
Yeah, totally agree. No, and now that everything can be digitalized or shit.
Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, because in a magazine, you don't guarantee that everyone is going to purchase it to see it. But if it is a meme or something you say and they record it, it can get all over the world. And yeah, and I understand this is you cannot agree with everyone's decision, but I say, okay, live and let die. So I think it's a very wise.
Yeah. those are just some things. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't make a lot of mistakes. I'm just trying to think of, yeah, that I have nothing else to say about it. Just do whatever it is with integrity. Be authentic. Do your thing. Don't talk shit.
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, the thing is that shit sells.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that made their career with with all the cheesy stuff and talking bad about other people because maybe it's not that you would not last too much, but you would get the attention that you want.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing, and there's another thing is why you should be nice to people, is because I've seen this a lot. People get a little bit of success, and they start shitting on everybody around them, and it goes to their heads. They start like, they get a big ego. But there is always a time, goes in cycles, where things aren't going so well. And when things aren't going well for you, you want all the friends you can have. You want all the support from all the people around you. And if you've been kicking heads on your way up and stepping on everybody else, they're going to be waiting for you to come down. And they're going to be there and they're going to help you tumble to the bottom. And I've seen it happen. I've seen it with people. And so just be grateful, be humble, and appreciate the people around you and appreciate everybody. And they'll be there for you.
Yeah, totally. I am from that way of thinking. Like always, be friends and be supportive because you will never know who you're going to need from.
Yep, and be supportive of others. That's a thing. It's like I'd originally been releasing on vinyl, and I was on a label that was in the UK, and actually from Scotland, and they I was naive. I didn't realize that you get money from the actual sales of the records, but you also get publishing, and that's another side of it. And labels at that time weren't telling the artists that they were collecting their publishing. And so it turned out that this label owed me like $30,000 and they hadn't paid me. And so I learned that it's best to control your own music. And so I started my own label with the purpose of releasing my own music on it so I'd have control. And also so that it would be more socialist, you might say, where I just told every artist, every friend of mine that wanted to release, we're just splitting it 50-50. Everything that the label makes, from your release, whether it's publishing or sales, anything, licensing it, we just split it 50-50. And so it was the idea was that I would give the money back to the artist so that the artist, and it was straight up. There was no shifty things going on. They got their royalties paid every 6 months. And that's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And I was proud of the fact that I still do that I pay the artist, because I've known so many artists that got fucked over. And so to me, that was like a thing that I could give back, is to support other young artists and not have them go through what I did and get screwed over somewhere. And that also, by having my own label, I could experiment. I could have young talent that wouldn't get picked up somewhere else, but that I recognized that there was something in them, and we could test it out, and they could release on my label. And some of those artists became more successful and got better. And that was it was important to me to support the artists that were around me, especially in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this business is tricky. It's very nice and peace, love, unity, and respect, and everything, and such a good vibe. But yeah, it's everything involving money always has the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and also I wanted to talk about your label. Now you share why you created, and I think that it's a very smart to handle. But there are different types of persons. Sometimes people are like, no, let somebody handle that because I don't know very well. Well, you have too much experience. I don't recall how many years you went playing until you make the label, but you already have knowledge about how the scene work, and you have a lot of examples from friends that happened, and then you say, okay, stop that shit. I'm going to make my own label and do something good for all my friends and for the music, because we live for that. So it's very nice that you have this label, a very big label, a lot of recognition, and you still have it. But how long have you been with the label?
I started Pharmacy, I must have been in like 2006, maybe. I actually don't remember the year, but it was around 2006. It's getting close to 20 years old. And that's the thing, is it's a nice manageable size. And that's the other thing, is I have complete control over the A&R, or choosing what comes out, because I only want to put out stuff that I would play. And so I keep the label kind of, at a manageable level with the artists that are making music that is in the realm that I know. I don't put out stuff outside of my wheelhouse. If I don't know, like, I like techno, but I don't know techno like, somebody that has a techno label. So I'm not going to just start releasing techno. I'm not going to start releasing, bass or trap or things, just melodic techno. I'll play melodic techno sometimes, but I'm not going to release that on my label, because that's not what the label is. It's psychedelic trance and harder underground trance, and that's it.
Yeah, it's what you know, it's what you launch, and you know it, and I like the way you're thinking, that whatever I will play, it will be launch. And I have 33 years of experience, so yeah, you have played all over the world. Anyway, well, let's talk about the question that we were talking about with my profile. If you want to share some bad experiences at parties, because it's not always the good stuff.
No, I've had some funny things. I was playing in Colombia one time, and out of nowhere, guy just ran up on stage and punched me and pulled the turntable off the deck, off the stage. And everybody's just like, has no idea what the hell's going on. And his friend was on acid. He was on acid too, but his friend was on acid, fell off he was dancing on a podium, fell off, and he got taken out of the club. He thought his friend died. And so I was the one playing the music that killed his friend. And so in his mind, I'd killed his friend. And so he came up to stop me from playing this death music. And so he was trying to save everybody. And so, yeah, that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, very crazy story from Colombia.
Yeah. And then another time I was kidnapped. I was playing a party, and I arrived at the airport, and some kids showed up. That's how it was. And they'd, and then say, "Hey, Christopher, come on, let's go." Like, we're picking up. And so I jumped in the car and went with them. And I had a cell phone, but this was when you didn't have, this is before iPhones. You just had a phone that you could talk on. And so I'm hanging out at the house with these kids, and we've been there for a couple hours, and I say, "I really want to go to my hotel room." And they said, "Oh no, we're going to take you in a little bit. We'll take you in a little bit." My booking agent calls and he says, "Where the fuck are you? The promoter's at the airport." He said, "You're not there." And I said, "I'm with these kids." They said that, I'm playing for them. Turns out they were promoters for a rival promotion team, and they didn't want me to play at the party that I was playing. And their goal was to just keep me there. And they weren't going to let me leave. They were sabotaging the other party. That was their whole plan. And so I told my booking agent, and I said, "I don't know where I am. but I described the people, and so they wouldn't let me leave, and so he contacted the promoters I'm supposed to be playing for. They figured out who it was. They got the police involved, and the police showed up. They found the house, and the police showed up, came to the door, and I was there, and they walked me out and walked me, to the other promoter's house. The police went in there. I don't know what happened to those guys. I just left because I was done. Then the police had to come out, and they did take my story. I explained how, I'd arrived at the airport. These guys took me. They weren't going to let me leave. They wouldn't take me to the hotel. And I don't know whatever happened to them. I don't know if anything ever happened to them because they never followed up. The police never followed up with me again. But I did play the show that night, so it was fun.
Wow, very. Yeah. Back in the old days, it's just like, hey, you're Christopher Lawrence. Yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah, that's how it was. You didn't have any way to really validate. You hadn't been, you didn't know them from like their Instagram. You weren't messaging them. You weren't DMing them throughout, the previous week. So yeah, anybody could say whoever they wanted to be.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, if you don't see my picture, everybody can go, hey, I'm Flash for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, I understand. When I started playing before smartphones, or before the so much smartphones, well, no social media, because they started the internet on the cell phones, but there was not an app. It was only web like Facebook and everything. Yeah. And now, everything's so easy, like communication. Yeah, and you can be in Australia, I can be here in Mexico, and I can call you. Hey, how are you, my friend? Hey, we have a video call. You can show me your studio and everything. Yeah, back in the old days, it was very, very difficult. You need to take a picture, print it out, and that's taken. Yeah, a lot of changes. And we're talking a little bit into music. We're very happy that you're back here in Mexico and talking about parties, and specifically with Omix. You have a lot of experience, 33 years. How do you feel that Omix is like, after 20 years, is still making parties in Mexico?
I think it's wonderful. And I played for the Atmosphere Festival with Omix, was it 5 years ago? I think it was in 2019. It'll be 6 years ago. And I think it's brilliant. And again, it comes back to that authenticity and integrity. And that's what they have with their events. And with this, like with this festival, it's not just a bunch of names. It's more, you feel like you're part of a family. You feel like it's something special. Like when we did that meet and greet earlier today, and we all got to hang out at the table, all the other artists that were playing, and we were all at the table and we were signing autographs and meeting people and stuff. But it was a communal thing. We got to spend time together. And I think that's unique. That doesn't happen at every festival. You don't do that all the time. And so I think that's something that they bring that makes it special for, I think, those of us that are playing as well. So that you feel more connected. Like I feel more connected to the event than if I just flown in, gone straight out, played my time slot and left. And so I think what they do is they care. They care about the audience. They care about the artists. They care about the sound. They care about making something special.
Yeah, totally. And what do you think that Omix is not trying, or they want to make a party in Brazil?
They want to.
They will do it in Brazil in November. What do you think that the Mexican promoter doing a party in another country?
It can be done, but you can't just go in and do it. You got to work with the local people too. They'll have to work with. But I think it's brilliant if they can expand. I think it's a wonderful thing because, like I said, they do a quality event, and so people will. You can take that. You can take it to other places, and if you produce the same type of event there, people will appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it's a big stake, or a bit, but yeah, we wish all the success. But it's very nice that Omix is now in Brazil, and they're going to do a party in November, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we hope like they have like a great party. Yeah, 8th of November. Yeah, 8th of November, and they're bringing Nilix to Mexico City and Guadalajara.
All right.
Yeah, I have the dates right now. Oh yeah, for part of the show. Yeah, no, yeah. Also, I'm excited. I think that they make great parties. I have attended several now, and yeah, that connection that you said is like very good. Like you had a meet and greet because sometimes you know this. You go, you play. Sometimes you're tired, you're jet lag, you're tired simply. You go over there, you play, and then you go back, you rest a little bit, and you because you need to travel. Because when are you live in Mexico? Like on Monday or?
I leave on Saturday. No, Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
I'm not leaving Saturday. I'll be here Saturday.
Yeah,
I leave Sunday because I'm flying to the UK with John Fleming.
Yeah, because you play and then you leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, and you don't have like the time to talk to everybody, but yeah, because this is the life that you go to the UK and you stay over there and then you travel again and then until you go to Australia and then you go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you travel a lot. Yeah. Well, you were already talking about the cheesy events, the recommendations. Oh, I don't have nothing to thank you for this.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. I hope this did. I ramble. I'm sorry, folks, but the stories just kind of just go. But I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Oh no, I really enjoy, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people wants to know your story. Over your experiences and your career and why you make stuff, and I think your recommendations and all your words were very wise because we cannot deny it. You have a lot of experience. You have played all over the world. And what your eyes seen, what your hands have played it's a lot, and you're a very recognizable name. And when I saw you and sent you the matches at the beginning, I was like, wow, I'm going to have like I tell you, I make this to put into stories and on the web or have media and background of your stories. If somebody wants to know about your story, I'm pretty sure they already have a lot of interviews, but at least from one Mexico media.
No, this was wonderful, and it was, what it is also because we got to just have a conversation. It wasn't like a Q&A. Like it's very comfortable.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, because I don't like to have like a script and like where you're from, your age, favorite genres, 3 inspirations, Pioneer or Denon, Technics, no, Cubase, Fruity Loops or Logic or Yamaha versus Moog. Is like no, I like more like a conversation and just like we just keep it. Bill, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity to have to chat with you. You have a very busy agenda. And what are your social media? Where people can follow you?
I'm on Instagram, Christopher Lawrence. I'm on Facebook, Christopher Lawrence. I don't have a TikTok. Actually, I do have a TikTok, but I don't post there.
It's a different content. I just missed one question. Before Christopher Lawrence, did you have any other name? Any other project?
No. Actually, when I very, very first started out, I was DJ Willard. My first mixtape. And that's the thing, there was actually mixtapes. We made mixtapes because and you'd play on your turntables and you'd record it into a cassette recorder and you'd make a mixtape. And the thing is now when I do like my podcasts and when I do like sets and things for things, I'll put it together in Pro Tools. Back then, you had to play it live on vinyl, one take through, and then you'd make your mixtape. And how did we get onto the mixtapes? We were talking about something. Oh my God, I haven't slept. Sorry, guys. I got up at 4:30 this morning, and it's now 11:30. But what were we talking about? And then I got all excited about mixtapes.
Well, dinner right now.
No, just now. I don't even know. I'm sorry.
No, no. Well, I asked you your first DJ name.
Oh, DJ Willard. And then that's how I got excited about the mixtapes. And my first mixtape was DJ Willard.
Willard, like W-I.
Willard.
Okay, I didn't.
Like the rat, Willard. It was my roommate. I was trying to come up with a name. And I'd had a pirate radio station, and I used the name Socrates. But Socrates is a terrible DJ name. And so I decided that I needed a DJ name because everybody needs a DJ name. And my roommate, such an asshole, he gave me the name DJ Willard because like the rat in this movie called Willard that has a terrible horror movie. And I used that for like 6 months. And I decided I can't meet people and say I'm DJ Willard. It just wasn't me. And so I decided I would just go by my real name. I gave up Willard. But there is a mixtape. I think you can find it on YouTube. DJ
Really?
Willard.
I'm going to look for it. And if I find the link, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to look for it, and I will in the YouTube. I'm going to put the link. So yeah, because it's your early days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the mixtapes. People used to purchase the mixtapes and then the vinyls, and then now it's something different. DJ sets. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we used to make the mixtapes and then make like multiples of them, and they'd get sold at the shows. Like you could bring like 30 or 40 of your mixtapes and you give them to, there'd be a guy in a booth, and all the DJs playing that night would give him their mixtapes. And so people would, at the party, because also back then it was a thing where the party was more about the party and it was more about the people, and the DJs we weren't on a stage. It was, people were going to, like, they'd be going to Atmosphere because of its reputation, and they knew that they'd have good DJs, but they didn't necessarily recognize the names of the DJs. Like, they didn't know who Christopher Lawrence was. Over time, then people started going, oh, who's that DJ? Oh, it's Christopher Lawrence. Yeah, he played at a party I was at last weekend. Yeah, I think I like him. You know what I mean? And so that's how people started to like names. It wasn't, we weren't branded like we are now. and so, I've lost my train of thought again, but the CD, I mean, the mixtapes, you could bring them. And so when people were at the party, they'd go, oh, who is that DJ? And they'd go, oh, it's Flash, or it's Christopher Lawrence, or whoever. And they'd go back to the table. And so they could, because you didn't have the internet. There were no CDs, like with the things, there's no streaming. So if you wanted to hear, my sound any other time other than at a party, you could buy the mixtape and take it home and put it in your car.
Yeah, I think it was talking about the connection that people like it, purchase a mixtape. Yeah, but right now with if you like very much, you go into Google, follow you on Instagram, or listen to your music in Spotify or whatever platform. And I have a question for Australia. In Mexico, Spotify is very popular. What is popular in Australia, like for streaming?
Spotify. It's popular all over the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mexico City is like a top city for Spotify. But yeah, I was just curious because for me, Spotify is regular. But I say maybe in Australia, you use Apple Music or Tidal, or I don't know.
No, I think I'm. I've only been there for 6 months, but it seems as if Spotify. My kids listen to Spotify. So I think it's Spotify.
Yeah, no, it's a good platform, but it was just curious because. And what do you use?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people listen to SoundCloud because SoundCloud has stuff that Spotify doesn't have.
Yes, because you don't need to have a distributor.
Yeah,
anyone can upload it. It's like Bandcamp.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a lot of times like young. Like new artists, producers, new DJs, whatever, you can find them on SoundCloud because they don't have backing of other things yet and they're just starting out. So you can hear really creative people on the SoundCloud first.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, right now it's easier to have your music in Spotify, but you need a distributor.
Yeah.
And now the same SoundCloud has like a way to distribute your music into Spotify, Amazon Music, and whatever. Yeah, but I use like all the apps. Sometimes I use YouTube Music, sometimes I use Spotify, sometimes I use SoundCloud, depending on the algorithm of where you're going to listen. But yeah,
They're all good.
they're good, but they're expensive because you need to pay a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like we're talking. There's a lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of options.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you again for sharing your story. It was great to have this chat with you, and also have dinner with you. It was amazing.
Yeah, he picked out a good restaurant. He came in clutch.
It was a lot of pressure, like I told you. When people imagine you are from United States, and then High Profile is from Greece, and Oded is from Israel, and Alex was from Mexico, and when 3 different nationalities tell you, let's go, we need something, but I don't want street tacos in Mexico, I was like, I need to Google, like, yeah. And we went to a Brazilian restaurant that they have on buffet, and it was good, and I'm very glad that you really like it.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, so I hope I will see you soon, and maybe in Europe or in Australia, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let me close the podcast in Spanish. A todos los que vieron, escucharon este podcast, sigan a Christopher Lawrence en todas sus redes sociales. Aquí les dejo todas sus plataformas. Denle like y compartan para que esto siga creciendo. Gracias, Omix, por la oportunidad de este podcast. Y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo. Hasta luego.